What is going on? Morgan here from Momentum Productions, back with another live Q&A. So, yeah, I've been kind of out of it lately when it comes down to doing a lot of these Q&As, but I'm trying to get back into track. I constantly want to stay up to date with my subscribers. I want to know what you guys are doing, what's new, what new equipment you're looking at, and just overall to catch up with you guys and see if you have any questions or doubts or anything like that, and see how you're doing with the filmmaking life. So yeah, just I want to do these at least 2 or 3 times a week. I haven't been really keeping up with it, but Halvin Wolf, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? Hope everything is good. Would I'd miss Josh? You didn't miss much, man. Just started the live stream. I did want to talk a little bit about the Mulswa Air gimbal, and I have it right here. This is the all-new Mulswa Air. Here it is. It's pretty dope, and it has a camera control cable. So right before this live stream, I was attempting to do a time lapse, but I completely failed at the time lapse. Stupid me, I put it on manual focus and I forgot to focus. It happens. So I'm not really good at making time lapses, I'll be honest, but I did a time lapse with the Jewin crane, and that time lapse came out just okay. It had a lot of jittering issues. Simply because I don't think there was enough consistency in the motors between different shutter angles. So it was just, not that great. Unfortunately, I don't know what the Mulswa Air shoots like because the time-lapse I took was out of focus. And stupid me, right? So tomorrow I'm going to be finishing up my review video for the Mulswa Air, so that way I can have it uploaded by Thursday morning Pacific time, and you guys will know exactly my thoughts on the Mulswa Air and things I love about it and things I think that could be better. BD says, I love your channel, and obviously you too. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Please, if you can, share this channel with your friends and have them subscribe and with notifications turned on. That way we can share the love and I'll be a part of this filmmaking community. But yeah, here's the Mulswa Air, the newest gimbal I got. I'm still waiting on 2 new gimbals to arrive. The Filmmaker A2000 and the Fossicam. And speaking of the Filmmaker A2000, I need to check on to see if that was shipped or not. So while I write out an email, sorry, but it is kind of important for me to know when they are going to be shipping this over. Okay. So, hey, what's up, Josh? How are you doing? And how about shooting S-Log and color grading? I believe there are a lot of questions people ask you the same. So I do have color correction tutorials up on my YouTube channel. So if you go to my videos on my channel homepage and you search for color correction, you're gonna get a bunch pop up, and I'll be creating a playlist simply for just for color correction. So stay tuned for that. All right, cool. So, sorry guys. I was wondering. Okay, awesome. So basically we have a ton of gimbals on the market right now. We have a bunch of competitors. So Mulswa Air is one of them. We have the Jewin Crane 2. We have the Filmmaker A2000. We have the Beholder EC1, which I probably will not end up reviewing. For some reason, no one is responding to my emails from that company. So, and honestly, when it comes down to portability, power, and convenience, I don't think that gimbal has any chance against the Moswa Air or the Jiwon Crane. So it's really going to come down to, I think, 4 gimbal companies. One is called Fossicam, Moswa Air, Jiwon Tech, and Feiyu Tech. Those are the 4 biggest gimbal companies in my opinion. And of course DJI, but they don't make handheld gimbals that can mount your own DSLR or SLR cameras like this one. So we will have to see if DJI will ever create a gimbal like that. I doubt it, because they're very successful with their Ronin series. Prinyank, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, my friend. Which LED light is best for video or cinematography? I have a few videos on my tutorial, on my channel, where I talk about different LED lights. I talk about Fresnel lights. I talk about LED panels. So make sure you check it out and go to my videos on my homepage section of my YouTube channel. Type in LED lights or video lights. That's a good keyword, and those videos should pop up. Cesartello is asking, is there going to be a how to make a living as a filmmaker? I actually recently released a video talking about how to get the highest paying clients. So that's pretty similar. So make sure you go and look for that video. I recently released it. I think I released it last week. Check it out and try to live off of that, because you will get clients using that technique that I'm sharing with you in the video. Hey bro, me and my friend Alfonso used your tutorial to get his new crane set up and running. Thanks so much, man. Thank you so much, Halvin Wolf, and thank you. I appreciate your super chat donation. I really appreciate that. I'm happy that my tutorials help you out, guys. And I've been looking at the comments lately. They're fantastic. My viewership, I'm going to be open with you guys. Don't want to have any secrets from you, but my viewership has been dropping. My subscribers have been dropping significantly, and I'm trying to figure out why. They've been slowly climbing back up, however. So I'm not in the negatives, thank God. I'm not in the negatives. I'm still growing, but at a lot slower rate than previous months. So I'm trying to figure out what is going on. I think YouTube has changed their algorithm even more, made it worse for smaller channels like mine. So I don't know what's going on with that. So if you guys want to see some specific content on my channel, if I'm doing something that you don't like, I implore you to please let me know. That way I can fix that issue and hopefully get that viewership back up. Because currently I'm just not happy with how the channel is slowly declining and then has little bumps in the road where it goes up and then back down to declining. So I'm trying to figure out how I can really benefit you guys with my videos that I shoot, and I just want to make sure that you're overall happy with the content that you see on this channel, because that is extremely important to me. I take that very seriously. So if you have some questions, comments, and suggestions, please leave them in the comment section so that way I know what's going on. So I want to talk a little bit about this Moswa Air gimbal. For those of you who don't know, gimbals are relatively new in filmmaking, especially ones that are this small. Usually we see those huge dual-handed gimbals like the Ronin series, Ronin M. Now there's different Chinese companies that decided to strip that whole system down and just have a single-handed grip gimbal. That way you can just easily put it in your backpack and just run around with it, traveling and stuff like that. They even make dual handle systems for this gimbal here. It actually comes with it. So I think that's pretty cool. And as you can see, it's really stable. So I'm going to put it into full lock mode. Actually, I'm going to restart it. There we go. Very quick. And these are high torque motors. I can feel the motors spin. Like as soon as I want to reset the gimbal, it goes. I can really feel that. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I can really feel that torque. It like that's really high torque. So yeah, and right now I want to be in lock mode. No, that's not lock mode. I forgot which mode is lock mode. But anyway, that's not important right now. What are your thoughts on the 365 camera with the interlock extension? I don't even know about that. Send me a link. Let me check it out. There's some things that I'm not always up to date on, guys, because filmmaking is such a large business. There's so many different tools that are coming out. Yeah, let me try and figure this out. Oh, now we're in lock mode. There we go. It's 3 clicks. See that? It just stays locked. I'm turning the handle, doing whatever. You know, it stays locked. And this is, I'm zoomed out all the way with a 24-70 Zeiss. So if we do a profile shot here, you can see that I'm zoomed out. And I'm on the lowest power setting possible with the Mulswa Air. And that just tells you this is probably about a 3-pound setup. Pound and a half, two and a half pounds, I would say. So this is a 2.5 pound setup right here. And I'm on the lowest setting with the Mulswa Air gimbal. Lowest power setting. So I think that they undercut this gimbal by saying it can handle 5.5 pounds. I think it can handle more than that, maybe 6.5 pounds. I don't have a camera or lens setup that is heavy enough for that, but honestly, I'm not going to be shooting with a heavier setup than this. And we also have an accessory port right here on the side. That's something that Jewin Crane does not have. And we have another accessory port on the bottom, and I'm using it with I'm using a tripod stand, which is included for this. So yeah. And again, we have a camera control cable here that is responsible for shutter release. When it comes down to like other features like camera recording or zoom, I haven't seen it working, which is odd. I haven't tried it on my A7S though. Maybe it'll work with my A7S, but definitely not with my Sony A9. Yeah. Have you always used a DSLR for filmmaking? No. I started off with a camcorder from Canon. It was a Canon Vixia, I believe. Then I went to Canon X810. Then I bought a 5D Mark II, which was my first DSLR. Then I bought the Canon XF305, which is a Pro TV camera. Sold that. It made me no money. That was one of the worst investments I've ever made in camera equipment because it was too big, too bulky. Lens was fantastic. Low light was absolute garbage, and for that reason, I was not able to make the money that I wanted to with that camera. So that camera's long gone. I lost maybe, I'd say about $1,000 on that investment, unfortunately. But you live and you learn. Which is the best gimbal for heavy DSLR like Canon 1DX Mark II? Very good question. Honestly, this gimbal could handle it, the Mulswa Air. But if you want a gimbal that can handle like really heavy payloads, the Crane 2 would be your best option since it goes up to 7 pounds payload. This one does 5.5 pounds, but I think this is a pretty heavy setup. I even put my 16-35 on here, which is it's a bigger lens, bigger glass in there, so it's going to weigh a lot more. It handles that lens and camera setup like butter on the lightest setting. So I think that the 1DX Mark II, this thing can handle it. How about the 44RC low setting 6-pound camera with the low light setting? 44RC. Can you elaborate more on that? I have no idea. What is the 44RC? Please elaborate. I'm curious. Yeah, but so the biggest, I would say the biggest two competitors out right now is Most Sweat Air. Um, Actually, I think Feiyu Tech and June Crane are the biggest two competitors. Yeah, definitely. What do you guys think? What do you think about gimbals? Do you think they're going to improve your work, your footage? Like, let me know what you think about gimbals. I'll tell you what I think. I think they're fantastic. I'm obsessed. I'm really obsessed with gimbals um, because of their portability, their size, ergonomics. Obviously, there's downsides like you're gonna get smoother footage on a glide cam. It's just how it works. You're gonna get smoother pans. You're gonna get smoother tilts, believe it or not. But with that said, on a glide cam, you need a lot more skill. Glide cams work with gravity. Gimbals work against gravity. So obviously the one that works with gravity is going to produce smoother shots. And with a glide cam, it's not fragile. You can throw it around, drop it, it'll just get scraped up, but it's not really going to break. Gimbals, electronic gimbals, are very fragile. So if you get water on it, it's going to short. If you drop it, it's going to bend and break. So there are two huge things about gimbals that I really love. Electronic gimbals. One, their portability, and two, motion time lapse. That's something you can't do with a gimbal. So that's the two main reasons why I love the June Crane and the Moswa Air. Because of those reasons. They are capable of doing unbelievable things, and I'm really happy about that. Yeah. Do you use external monitors for your DSLR? So I don't own any more DSLRs. I own 3 mirrorless cameras: Sony A9, Sony A7S, and Panasonic GH4. I do use an external monitor sometimes when I'm shooting myself for like a review video or something like that, and I use a Lilliput monitor. Prachik Darun, hi, how you doing, brother? Welcome. What's new with you? Have you released your gimbal time lapse on your channel? I may have missed it. I have not released, still working on it. I shot a time lapse today, but it was out of focus. But I will be I will be releasing. Actually, wait, hang on. I have released a gimbal time lapse video on the June Crane. I made one. Yeah, type in. Go to my homepage on my YouTube channel. Click on the videos bar, and type in gimbal time lapse, and you will find my June Crane time lapse video. I completely spaced out. I created a tutorial on that. And I'm going to make another tutorial on how to create a time-lapse with this gimbal, the Moswa Air. It's actually off right now, which is why it's flopping over. But yeah, these gimbals are such great competitors, guys. They both do an excellent job of stabilizing footage. Any more questions, my friends? Any more at all? And I don't know if you guys know this, but with the Moswa Air, we have a thumbstick controller. I'm going to show you guys how cool this thumbstick controller is. It's what you can do with this thumbstick controller is that you can mount it on the handlebar, and similar to what FreeFly is doing, you can actually mimic your movements on the handlebar, and it will recreate it onto the gimbal. So this little module here is a remote controller. It has a gyroscope inside, so as I move the remote controller, the gimbal is going to recreate the same moves as how I move it on the controller. So let me demonstrate that for you. see how far back I can push my screen and show you what's going on. Hopefully you guys can see a little bit. Salute Josh. Thanks for the video on the studio setup. How's the review on the Neewer LED lights coming? I haven't started shooting that one yet, but it's coming. Trust me. I have to get a few other reviews out of the way first because I have deadlines for those for companies like Moswa Air. I have to get done this week. And then I have a few. Actually, I think that's the last one I have to do this week. So maybe I'll release it by Monday or something like that. So yeah. So here's the thumbstick controller. Let me see how it looks like. Okay. So here's a thumbstick controller. We have a whole bunch of options here. I hope you guys can see that. It looks pretty clear. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press on the options button. Oh, I'm going to hold it actually. I'm going to scroll down to motion control. Go right. So what does it say? Oops, I went down one. I went down again. Come on. And we're gonna go to start. So whoa! You see how responsive it is? So as I move my thumbstick, or just like just move it around, you are going to see this thing do all this cool stuff. So usually if you want the most accurate and stable footage, what I like to do is put it on handlebars. So let me demonstrate that for you actually. So I'm going to reset the gimbal. I'm going to mount it on handlebars. That way we get much more accurate shots. So people are asking me if this is a gimmick. Why would you ever need this mimic? Well, for instance, using a thumbstick is not as accurate as the mimic control. It's not as accurate. You're gonna get lag. You're gonna, there's only a certain speed that this thumbstick can control the camera at. When you use the mimic control, you can move the camera ridiculously fast, and you can get much more accurate shots. So let me mount it onto the handlebars. So I'm gonna grab this here. Sorry guys, if you only see my back for a second. Let me grab all this stuff. And the handlebars come included with the Moswa Air. Okay, what is the price of the gimbal? The price of the gimbal is $5.99, and it comes with dual handles. No other gimbal company does that. However, this remote controller is $199 extra, but it is worth it. It has a range of like 156 feet. That's massive. I mean, that's impressive. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Okay, here's our metal handlebar. Actually, I'm gonna put the accessory arm on first. And I'll show you the benefits of having something like this in just a second. Just mount it on really quick. Okay. Alright, and then we put on the handlebars. And this is all metal, guys. It's fantastic quality. And I saw a question earlier. Somebody asked me what my opinion is comparing this to like a glide cam. Honestly, I love both of them. Both of them have their pluses and minuses, and I know that's not the answer that you want to hear. But both of them offer different shooting styles. Glide cams give you more of that human touch. Gimbals give you more of that precision. For example, they're always aligned with the horizon. Glide cams aren't. It's just simply impossible to keep the glide cam aligned with the horizon all the time. It's not possible. So gimbals also have an issue keeping the horizon, but most of the time they do a good job. So let's mount the, okay. Go ahead and mount the controller. Mount it like this on the other side. Grab the wrong screw. And this comes with a shockproof case along with a water-resistant case. So that's something that I love. This case is fantastic that it comes with. Okay, come on, screw on. There we go. All right, so now I'm just gonna flip this thing around. And I'm gonna start up the remote controller again. And here's my current setup, guys. Here's how it's looking. I mean, no other gimbal company besides FreeFly has this option, so this is something you should definitely consider. So here is my handlebar system with the remote attached. Okay, I'm going to turn on the remote. I'm going to go back to motion control. And I love the display on this thing. It shows us a lot of options. Motion control, start. Okay. Now watch. As I turn the handlebars, as I tilt up, tilt down. See that? Let me actually tilt up a little bit so you guys can see better. So I'm going to go to the right a little bit. To see how accurate I can get the shots that I want. Boom, tilt up, tilt down, tilt up, tilt down. I can just spin it around. See that? Tilt up, tilt down. Fix the. You can also manually use the joystick if you want to realign it. See that? The motor noise is a little bit loud, however. I wish they could fix that, but I'm sure it's just a firmware update. I can fix that issue. You see how cool that is? Super slow pans as well. See how slow it's panning? Yeah. It's really cool. And the lag time is not bad at all. It's pretty good. I don't know if you guys can hear the motor noise. It's kind of loud, kind of not really. If this camera is going to be far away from the mics, like maybe 10 feet, you're not going to hear it. But yeah. Cool. So let's answer some questions here. I'm going to turn off motion control. I'll set it down to the side here. And let's answer some questions about this gimbal. Obviously, I'm going to have an official review that's going to be released out later this week, but because I'm going to give you some inside looks on this gimbal. All right. Let's answer some questions here. Man, that's affordable. Yes, it is. I had the Crane version 1 when it first dropped and never had handlebars. Honestly, you don't necessarily need the handlebars, but I've come from a background, like I've been using the King TV Argo, which is basically a DJI Ronin replica, and I have to say that the dual handles do a lot. They really do. They really do stabilize your footage better. You're evenly distributing the weight between your two arms, and it overall is more comfortable. You can get much more accurate shots, so I do recommend getting the dual handle system. You look like you've been having fun with the gimbal. Oh, yes, I have. I've been having a ton of fun. Does the Moswa include the tripod stand B&H as I mentioned on the product page? Yes, it does. It comes... Oh, it's right here. Yes, it comes with a really nice, small but sturdy and metal tripod. I love this tripod. And it has little rubber feet, so you can put it on your expensive counters or wooden counters or whatever, and it won't scratch anything up. Yeah. I want to upgrade my Canon EOS 700D body. What do you suggest? Albert Weiss, it depends all on your budget. Last question for the night. Would you rather buy the Sony HVR42 or the Nikon D3900? And which would be better overall? Unfortunately, I don't know either of those cameras. I don't follow Nikon at all. And HVR42 sounds like a camcorder. So I don't follow that part of Sony either. So I don't know every single camera that's out there. I only know what cameras I really do like. And that is SLR, DSLR cameras. How long do the batteries last on the Most Sweat Air? It's rated at 8 hours, but I think if you properly balance the camera, you can get easily 10 hours. How are you able to see what is recording while being in the motion mode? Can you add on an external screen to your rig? Yes, you definitely can. Here's what I would suggest. Since the Sony cameras are wireless, they emit Wi-Fi, you can hook up your iPhone and mount it to the handlebars. So while you're controlling the camera's movements, you can actually look on your iPhone and wirelessly monitor the camera. You have that option. You also have the option of mounting a display right onto the gimbal. But what's the point of that if you're going to be far away from it? So the Wi-Fi option with the iPhone is a great choice. But there might be some lag. So that's why I also have the CameTV Argo. The CameTV Argo has a standard definition wireless transmitter on the bottom of the gimbal. So I can wirelessly transmit the signal to a wireless receiver and receive picture. So maybe that's something you need. I don't know. But honestly, with the Sony A9, I've been getting very minimal lag with the Wi-Fi function. So you can easily use your iPhone, iPad, any remote device that has a mobile device that has Wi-Fi. You can easily hook it up to your Sony, Panasonic, or even Canon cameras now. What's the best DSLR rig cage for 5D Mark III or Mark IV? That's a good question. I don't have a cage. I don't use one simply because I either put my camera on like a shoulder rig or on gimbals like this. But you should consider Tilta as one of your options when buying cages. Tilta makes excellent cages. I don't have any of the Tilta cages, but I've seen reviews on them. I've played around with them, and they're very nice quality. The lag is horrible even with the iPhone, but I did like the Lumix app on the GH4. That one is excellent for monitoring. Yeah, it is. But you know what? With the Sony A9, since it doesn't have the Play Memories app built into the camera, it has like some sort of Wi-Fi thing. I've been getting very minimal lag with the Sony A9. I'm very impressed how well it is. Yeah. And the thumbstick controller is very smooth. It's a variable speed, so the farther you push it to a side, the faster the gimbal's going to move. Now, what I don't like about this thumbstick is that it's only 4-way, meaning that I can't tilt up and pan at the same time. However, on the remote controller, you can. The remote controller allows you to pan up and tilt at the same time, just not on the thumbstick that is mounted on the gimbal, unfortunately. There are settings to change it only on the remote, but not on the gimbal itself. Talking about the Lumix, I'm still waiting for the 2.0 firmware release announced for the end of September. I guess they will release it on the 30th of September at 11:59 p.m. for the GH5, of course. All GH4 owners like me, they forgot about. But what's the new update for the GH5? Is it something pretty awesome? Let me know. Let me know. Any more questions, guys, that we may have? Let me actually attach the dual handle system to the gimbal so I can show you exactly what it looks like. So while you guys ask questions, I'm going to be doing that. Remount this whole thing because I put it on wrong. Any luck with the start-stop recording video using the button on the Moswa on the Sony camera? No luck. No luck, Simon, unfortunately. I'm going to try it with my A7S and see if that helps, but I've only been able to control the shutter during time-lapse. Nothing else. Nothing else. No stop record has been working at all. Yeah, unfortunately. I'm going to go ahead and mount this on. And this really competes with the Crane 2 because you get this, when you spend $200 on the remote controller, you're getting a ton of features. You get a bigger display. I think it's almost double the size of the display on the Crane version 2. And it's a wireless remote that goes up to almost 200 feet. So that with this gimbal and the remote controller, it's going to be around $800. The Crane 2 is $750. So it all depends right now on your payload and how heavy you need your gimbal to handle. For all of my equipment right now that I use, 5.5 pounds is just what I need. It's actually more than what I need. So yeah, I mean, that's my thought on that. You don't need, I know a lot of people are like going crazy over like the payload, but it's not always about the payload, guys. It really isn't. Just because something has a really good payload doesn't mean that's going to be a good gimbal. Honestly, if I were to choose again, if the Crane 2 and Crane version 2, you know, came out at the same time or whatever, I would still go with the Crane version 2. Because another problem with the Crane 2 is that it's not portable enough. You have to have the handle basically attached. On the Crane version 2, you can detach the handle, and it can easily fit inside of any camera bag. The Crane 2 can't do that. It's a lot bulkier. And for me, that's a problem. Because with the Moswa Air, I can also fit it in my camera bag easily. So, what accessories would you need to mount an external monitor on the dual handle? Honestly, you don't need much. I would suggest one of those little ball heads. You can easily use this accessory that comes with the system, but I actually think it's only meant for the remote controller. So you can actually buy what is called a magic arm, and it can attach itself to the handlebar system, and then that will attach to a monitor. So magic arm, and find out if the magic arm that you're buying comes with a clamp that can clamp onto the dual handle system. So here we go. I'm going to attach the dual handle system as so. It just basically clamps on like this. Just like that. This goes around. This tightens up. Now we have a dual handle system on the Moswa Air. See that? But again, I kind of mounted it wrong since I need the thumbstick to be right in front of me. So I'm going to loosen this back up. Just turn the gimbal around. That, and then I can tighten it back up. I do have one complaint with the dual handles though. They tend to slip. Like they put padding, rubberized padding in the center bar, in the center area here to grip onto the handle of the gimbal, but they didn't do that with the side handles. So it's kind of slippery. So if I put maybe some Velcro pieces inside of the handles, I think that'll grip better. So here's the dual handle system. Here you go. Dual handle, baby. I'll tilt down a little bit. Boom, dual handle. Easy peasy, right? Easy peasy. See? The handles are slipping. I almost dropped the whole system. So I definitely need to mention that in my review video because that is something that they need to fix in the factory. And again, all it takes is for them to glue on some rubber pieces inside the handle, and that will grip onto the handlebars a lot better. But yeah, that's an easy fix. You can, if you have a Moswa Air with the handlebars loose like this, all you need to do is just get some pieces of Velcro or something else that has like a rubberized feel to it. Simon Gavlin says, any plans of testing out the Fadutech A2000? Yes, big plans actually. They're supposed to send me one. I'm still waiting on them to send me one. They're telling me that there's been some delay in manufacturing, so I'm waiting for them to send me an A2000. But it's happening. Definitely happening. It's just time will tell when it gets here. And I'm supposed to review another gimbal called FosseCam. I used to have that gimbal, but it broke, and I had to ship it to the service center. But I'm not going to take points off for that because they are a brand new company in the gimbal market. So I'm not going to take points away from that. If it was a company that has been doing gimbals for years, like Kane TV or Fadutech or Juin Tech, then I would take points off. But if it's for a starter company that just launched and their first gimbal was a little faulty, that's fine. You know, you learn from your mistakes. Yeah. Any more last minute questions, my friends? Let me know. Let me know. Revendran says, haven't got an easy gimbal setup for the 5D Mark III yet. Which system would you recommend? Moswa Air. Moswa Air. That's the one I have right now. And I have the Juin Crane as well. But for the 5D Mark III, it's a pretty heavy camera. Yeah, do you prefer Steadicam or Float 4000? I don't know the Float 4000, but I think you're asking me if... yeah, I've never heard of the Float 4000. Send me a link to it so I can look it up. How long can you shoot with that camera before it gets hot and shuts itself down? It all depends on the atmosphere, man. It all depends on the, you know, where you're shooting and the temperature is. If it's like 95 degrees and humid, which it was most of the summer here in LA, the camera will last about 20-25 minutes before it shuts off. Yeah. If you're shooting in 4K, probably 15 minutes. Because the camera heats up quite a bit in 4K. Yeah. Any more questions, guys? Oh, okay. So your question was, do you prefer Steadicam or Flowcam 4000? Well, Steadicam is an expensive piece of equipment. That's like $3 grand for like a Steadicam Pilot. Flowcam 4000 costs like $150. But the footage you get out of the Flowcam is just as good as on a Steadicam. So yeah, I would prefer getting the Flowcam 4000. Steadicam Pilot is for like high production stuff, like if you're gonna mount a big camera, big monitor, if you have a vest system, like it's all complicated with the Steadicam Pilot. But with Flowcam, you don't need much. You just need the Flowcam, and it's 150 bucks, very cheap. And I was very happy with the quality of it. I actually have it right here with me. If you want me to bring it out, I can show you. And yeah. Any more questions, guys? I'll take one more question. More color grading tips for better storytelling. All right, man. I'll work on that for you. Let me create those into tutorials. Silver Horse says, thank you for doing this Q&A. All right. You know, guys, let's go to an hour. We're at 45 minutes in. Let's just do another 15 because I know that some of you have some questions. Some new people might tune in. Let's just do an hour. We usually do an hour live stream, so let's do another hour one. Even though I'm getting pretty sleepy, it's 1:14 a.m. That's not too late, but I didn't sleep much today. But I want to answer and talk to you guys, answer some of your questions. What else do we have here? Any more questions? Let's see it off. So you guys gotta help me out. Any more questions? Time for a quick frames per second breakdown. So what kind of breakdown do you want? Like the difference between 24 frames, 25, 30, 60? Like what would you want me to talk about? Silver Horse 32, you ever shoot weddings? I've shot a few weddings doing it because I just don't like it. I don't enjoy shooting weddings. And the reason why I don't enjoy shooting weddings is that I'm not an audio guy. And I'm really scared to trust somebody else with audio because if they screw up, then my whole rep is bad. Weddings are not a controlled environment. So I'd rather shoot in a controlled environment where there's a dedicated sound guy who was hired by another production company. Like weddings, it's a lot more complicated, and you only have one shot to do it right. If you screw up, there's no redos. So yeah. Halvin Wolf says, should I shoot everything at 60 frames and then render it out at 24? Not always. Only shoot at 60 frames per second when you think you're going to need slow motion. I was never a huge fan of 24 frames, but the Sony A9 shoots 4K at 24 frames, and I absolutely love the picture I get out of it. So I'm slowly falling back in love with 24 frames, but honestly, shoot 60 only when you think you'll need slow motion. Otherwise, there's no need for 60. So, I mean, on my DJI Mavic, yes, I shoot everything in 60 because aerial footage is good aerial footage is extremely hard to capture. Very, very difficult. So I want to be as versatile with my footage as possible, and I made a tutorial on that. So I strongly think that you should definitely shoot at 60 frames per second on a Mavic, just because aerial footage is so difficult to get. So I hope I answered your question. Benio is asking, for a nice gimbal shot where you circle around an object or an actor, what lens size would you use? I mean, I would use two different lenses. I would use a wide and I'd use a semi-telephoto lens. For example, I would use a 50 would be nice to get that shallow depth of field, and a wide would be nice to get that just movement. So use both. If you're on a shoot and you want to have different shots and angles and stuff like that, try using a few different lenses for a specific shot, and then in editing you'll decide if you like it or not. But wide and zoomed in, I pretty much like. So like a 50, even a 70 would be beautiful. But don't forget that the more you zoom in, or if you're using telephoto lenses, you're going to see more vibration, you're going to see more shake in your footage. The wider the lenses, the smoother footage you're going to get. What happens if you shoot 30 frames per second and render out as 24 without any slow motion? Do video looks choppy, or is that or something like that? No. If you shoot at a higher frame rate and export in a lower frame rate, you won't get choppy footage. However, if you flip it and shoot at 24 and export at 30, you will get choppy footage simply because the computer is going to skip frames in order to meet that 30 frames per second demand. Do you think it's possible to do a good travel video without a drone? I'm heading to Iceland soon but don't own a drone. Yeah, you don't need a drone. You don't need a drone. In fact, I want to show you a big inspiration of mine of one of the best travel videos I've ever seen. This guy inspired me to get my glide cam. Unfortunately, he doesn't make videos anymore. But I want you to watch this guy, and I want you to see the types of shots he creates. This was done in about 5 years ago, December 2012. He shot on a Canon 7D. This is an old camera, guys, but the quality is ridiculously good. So I want you to watch this video, okay? Watch that video, and you will see how beautiful this movie. It's, I think, how long is it? 16 minutes. You don't have to watch the whole thing. There's kind of a story and a narrator behind it, but you just watch the establishing shots, the landscape shots. See how fluid and beautiful it is. For the best travel shots, try to use a gimbal if you can. It could be a glide cam or something like that. Because that shot, that video he made blew my mind, and that specific video made me want to get a glide cam. That guy made me want to get a glide cam. I saw unbelievable shots in that video, and that was one of my first inspirations to become a pro filmmaker, that video. And he disappeared, honestly. I haven't seen him make a new video in such a long time, and I'm really upset. Really upset. Let's see here. I just got an email, guys, that someone stole my company name in China. Alright. Okay, any more questions? Sorry, guys. Yeah, I just got a really bad email. I'll read it to you. Guys, I'll read it to you. Once you start producing work and sharing it on the internet, you're going to have people that steal from you. I've already had one channel on YouTube literally copied, ripped every single video I had on my channel and re-uploaded it and tried to get money off of it. So I filed many copyright complaints against them. The channel was shut down. Then another person on Facebook, this was actually a company called 3-Axis Gimbals, ripped my footage, cut me out of the footage, and tried to re-upload it as if they made the video themselves. I was infuriated. And now I have this company from China that says, we are going to register China domain names as capturethemomentum.cn, capturethemomentum.com.cn, and capturethemomentum.net. .cn. These are all .cn, so it's not that big of a deal. However, if they are using this name for film production, ooh, that's infringing on copyright or trademark. Yeah, so I mean, all of these domains end in .cn. I have .com. That's like the master. So that's not a big issue with me. It's just it's the thing that bothers me the most, guys, is that somebody discovered my website and took my name. Because I was the first person to come up with capture the momentum. Obviously, some guy saw me, saw my channel name, saw my website name and company name. I'm a registered. I have a tax registration certificate for my business. I'm a registered business. So the fact that they took my name is bad. That's not a good sign. But we'll see what happens. There's only one me, and I have the .com domain, and that's all that really matters. Simon says there should be other people that have experienced the same thing with the CN domains. Ask for advice. I will. But I'm not really scared of it. They emailed me for my permission, and then they said that they're going to do it anyway. So why would they email me for permission? Very bizarre. Yeah, very bizarre. So I responded to them. You're going to have to deal with this too, guys. If you're going to be uploading content to the internet, you have to deal with this as well. So I'm going to share my experience with you. I responded to them. Hi, as long as you're not using the name for a film production company, I will have no problem. If you are using it for film production, you will be infringing on copyright because that name is copyrighted. It's copyrighted. They cannot steal that name from me. Evis Ching says, when I type Momentum Productions on YouTube, I see another channel with the same name. It's a French channel, I think. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but that doesn't really bother me too much. They're not... Let me double check. I mean, I'm the first channel that pops up. But... yeah, this other channel... yeah, I found out about this channel, but they don't really do film production or anything. They're not really a threat to my business. But this Chinese company, whoever they are, they might be a little bit of a threat. I don't like the fact that they're using my name without my permission. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to waste too much time on it. If they do end up using it, will I pursue them legally? Probably not. Again, I have the .com. They don't. They have .com.cn. That on its own is going to have people, people won't be visiting .cns as much as .coms. So you have to think of it that way. They're all .cn websites. So, but my biggest issue with me is that they were not original with the name. They were not original with the name. Someone from this company found me and said, hey, I want to use Capture the Momentum. There's no other Capture the Momentum on the planet, on the internet database. Nobody has that name except for me. And then these guys come in and then they get 4 domain names called Capture the Momentum. It's not right. It's not good ethics. Come up with your own name. Be creative. It took time for me to come up with this name. Do you have any particular advice on how to protect your content from being used by another person? It depends on which platform they're being used on. For example, on YouTube, your content is extremely vulnerable. Anybody can simply rip it onto their hard drive, meaning that they can download an app called Media Player, post a URL in the Media Player, download the video, and re-upload it. There's no way of determining whether or not your content has been used. However, if you discover it yourself or your friends discover it, you can definitely report it to YouTube. I've done that myself. There was a clone of my channel on YouTube. Some guy cloned my channel with the same exact content, re-uploaded my content. I found out, took me 2 months to find out about it, and I filed, I think, 10 copyright complaints against that channel. Channel was removed and so was the content. So on YouTube, they're pretty good about it, but unfortunately, you do not get notified when your content is being used. Now, I'm not a pro at this copyright stuff. Maybe there is a way for you to find out. Like, for example, music is scanned through each video, and it alerts the artist once their music is being used in another video. I don't know how that works with video, so it could be different. But YouTube and Facebook, they're usually really good about it. Other platforms, probably not, like some other sketchy platforms. Vimeo is very good about it too, but like other low-key platforms like, I don't even remember the names, but the lower, not as important video players, they sometimes steal things from you, and it's very difficult to fight with them because they are probably the ones who have the control. They're overseas. I mean, you're just going to be wasting your time. The biggest sites that you should be worried about: Vimeo, Facebook, and YouTube. If someone's stealing your content on there, you can easily fight them. Easily. And you'll win. Other sites, don't worry about it. They're not as easily monetizable as YouTube is. So just focus on those 3 sites. Simon is asking, what music library do you use for your videos? I use a library called Audio Library. Just type it in, Audio Library non-copyright music. So if you go to search bar on YouTube and type in Audio Library non-copyright music, you'll find the channel. It has like 500 songs at least. And then there's another channel called Bass Rebels, also non-copyrighted. You want to always use non-copyrighted songs. That way you can monetize your video and get money out of it. Don't use other artists' songs. Like Jay-Z and stuff like that, because you're gonna get a copyright notice and you're not gonna make any money off the video. Get paid for what you do. So that's why I don't use any big names in my videos, simply because it's all copyrighted. Evis Ching says maybe you can create your own starting music, and you'll be notified when your video is uploaded somewhere else. Yeah, probably. Yeah, but it will happen to you guys. You will get content stolen from you, whether you like it or not. And be prepared, because it's gonna happen. And it recently just happened to Devin Graham, also known as Devin Supertramp. There was a big thing about it, and it's really bad. And it's from a company that we all know. GoPro. GoPro illegally stole Devin Graham's video, one of his best videos I've seen. They stole it, they ripped it, they downloaded it, and then they re-uploaded it to GoPro's channel without giving him credit, and without doing it with his permission. GoPro. So Devin filed a copyright claim. They were forced to take it down. But when you're dealing with a company like GoPro, I would sue them. They should know better. And to not even credit you in the video, I mean, wow, GoPro. The nerve. The social media guy or girl for that company needs to be fired. And the company needs to be sued, because that is disgusting. It's disgraceful for a company to use somebody else's content like that. Very bad. So it's not cool. It's not cool. So Devin Graham, he easily got the video removed, but it's ethics. Everything that you do in life is based off of ethics. Business ethics, personal ethics, it's all based off of ethics. If you have a flawed view on ethics, then you should not be a human being, because that's what being a human being is. It's all about ethics and how you treat others, how you treat your business. It all has to do with that. Morals. It's all about morals. I don't think they'd be all right even if they credited him. Yeah, GoPro's in trouble. GoPro's not doing well. Their drone failed, and it's barely making them any sales. I'm sure they didn't even break even on that drone yet. Yeah, GoPro's not going to be around for much longer, unfortunately. They need to create something groundbreaking. Yeah. I love GoPro. I mean, I love the cameras they've created, and they made their cameras very intuitive and interesting to use, but I think what's killing them is the iPhone. And now Sony came out with their RX0, which is going to smoke GoPro, and I think it already is, because you're having a pro sensor in such a tiny camera. Picture quality is going to be insane. So I think that's going to kill GoPro even more, unfortunately. Simon says a new GoPro will be released tomorrow, or at least announced. Thinking about GoPro, and the new RX100 from Sony is coming soon. Yeah, the RX0 I think is going to be the GoPro killer, in my opinion, because the specs on that camera is ridiculous. Yeah. It's incredible. I love what Sony is doing. I really do. They got some incredible engineers behind that company. Canon's falling behind. Nikon is starting to pick up again. Panasonic is doing well, very well actually. A lot of people bought the GH4 and GH5, so Panasonic is killing it. Canon is just needs to speed up a little bit. But Canon, I'm never going to be worried about Canon, because they make the best glass. The best DSLRs come from Canon. So I'm not worried about them. But if they want to compete in the video market, they got to release something that can handle good video. The 5D Mark IV, very difficult when it comes down to shooting 4K video. The bit rate is like 400 megabits, and it's going to eat up a 64 gig card in probably less than 10 minutes. It's very difficult to work with a camera like that. So, I mean, do you really think you can shoot an event and have to switch out cards every 10 minutes? Or 5 minutes for that matter? And if you use a 128 gig, you're going to have to switch out cards every 10 minutes. It's not a good camera for video. So, unfortunately. Yeah. Alright guys, well, we reached an hour and 8 minutes, surprisingly. This was a good talk. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys create. Stay tuned for my Motswa Air gimbal review, because that will be coming out on Thursday. We are on schedule to be releasing it on Thursday. And let me know what you guys think about some other new equipment that's being released. Educate me as much as I educate you, because there's also things that I'm learning from you guys. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll look forward to the next live stream with all of you. Have a good night, or good morning, or good day, wherever you are, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.